Hi everybody and welcome to today's lecture. Today, as you can see here, we're going to be studying lesson number 40 out of 50, titled Sacrifice for Humanity. Well, in this conference, we will be talking about the third factor for the revolution of consciousness. Therefore, it is a quite important conference. Let us remember that there are three factors that allow us to achieve our goal of self-realization. Spiritual birth, which is done through the practice of suprasex and allows us to create the existential bodies of the being, bodies that allow us to have true presence in the different dimensions of nature. The second factor, which is psychological death, which allows us to eliminate the ego and release consciousness. And sacrifice for humanity, the third factor, which we are going to delve into today. Okay? Remember that if you have any question, you can leave it down there in the comment section, and we're going to be very happy to answer any question you may have or to clear out any doubt you may have regarding this topic. Also, in the description of this video, you're going to be finding the access link to the WhatsApp group, to the Telegram group, and to the YouTube channel, okay? Through these groups, you are going to be receiving the material the complementary material we use for the conferences, such as the charts and also the audios of the conferences, okay? Also, in the YouTube channel, you are going to be finding the lists of the conferences, of the lectures we study in this self-knowledge course. Well, today, as I said before, we're going to be learning about the sacrifice for humanity factor. What it is, what its requirements are, how it helps us advance in our inner work, and the ways we can develop it. The sacrifice for humanity is to selflessly deliver knowledge to all humanity. The term sacrifice means sacred office, yes. The sacred office is that of wisdom. It is related to the strength of the father. The office of the father is that of teaching, that of giving wisdom. When we teach the other brothers of humanity the way of self-realization, we intimately embody the force of the Father. It is evident that all humanity doesn't know why it lives. People have no idea what they were born for. Nobody has told them. They live in a state of hypnotism, totally fascinated and with their consciousness completely asleep. So, when we already know it, we have the responsibility to teach what is the reason for existing, why we were born, what are the possibilities of being, how can we integrate with the being so that each one does what seems best to them, always respecting free will. Normally, in the term sacrifice, we see suffering because we are completely selfish. That force of egoism makes it hard for us to do it, to develop it. The ego will always oppose us to give this knowledge to everyone else. Most people, when they come to the three factors, think that they are very easy to put into practice. But when they go to apply them, they don't understand why it becomes so difficult for them. Normally, the sacrifice would be very simple. It really gets complicated because within us we carry not one egoist, but millions of egoists pointing in different directions. Furthermore, we have within us the ego of fear, which is not a fear but millions of fears that do not allow us to serve selflessly. If you reflect, you will realize how, for example, our fear of what people will say about me, what they will think, the fear of sacrificing my leisure time or my time to make money are obstacles to devoting time to sharing this knowledge. Love is always seen in the works. Lack of love at the root of fear in omission. When we begin to sacrifice ourselves for humanity, we automatically begin to become selfless. Let's study this. The word, egoistize ourselves means to stop being selfish or to share what we have with others. If we really want to achieve something, we must eliminate the ego and selfishness within us. And the key is in the sacrifice for humanity. Well, what is the only thing we truly have? What is our heritage? It is our knowledge. The wisdom that allows us to revolutionize, liberate, and self-realize ourselves in one existence. If we reflect on this, if we value what we possess, we will realize that this knowledge couldn't be bought with all the gold in the world. When we share it with other people, we are ceasing to be selfish. We are giving others the possibility that they can also self-realize. Think about this. If we see a person wandering on the street, hungry and cold, and we give them a coin or a piece of bread, we would be doing charity and helping that person for a day. Tomorrow he will be hungry again. However, if we teach that person this knowledge, we are giving him the tools so that person knows the causes of his situation, can correct them, free himself from that state, and changes his life, changes his life forever. Okay, and definitively. If we reflect on this, we will realize that this knowledge is the most valuable thing we have been able to receive and the most valuable thing we can give to others. But let us understand from now on that we should not convince anyone. We should tell them but not beg them. Whoever is not prepared will not be able to start the path, and each one must convince himself. Well, conditions for the sacrifice for humanity. Well, we must deliver this knowledge for free. If it is charged, it is not a sacrifice, but a business. And you can see that all religions made that mistake, okay? Also, we must deliver it to everyone without distinction of sex, color, social class, wealth, race, age, etc., etc. We must not modify it. We are asleep and we cannot alter what awake beings organized. Each of the tracks for the awakening of consciousness were ordered for that objective, okay? So we cannot take away and we cannot be adding anything to this knowledge. We must deliver it pure without, as I said before, adding other things that are not part of this knowledge. There are 3 factors and nothing more, okay? Also, we should not take away or hide anything from it, as this would adulterate it. This happened to those who hid the mysteries of sex, for example. They castrated the birth factor. Many religions did that, and we need the 3 factors to self-realize. Also, we are not going to mix this knowledge with pseudo-esoteric knowledge, okay? Spiritism, tarot, reading of cards and things like that, okay? Dealing with spirits, shamanism, and all that stuff out there. Reiki, all that stuff. If we mix this knowledge with other knowledge, we would be adulterating it, and it will no longer be this knowledge. Things, as I said before, like palmistry, magnetic passes, other things of a pseudo-esoteric nature. Let's look now some reasons to sacrifice ourselves for humanity and reflect a little on each one of them. Well, first, the being is the being, and the reason for the being is the being itself. Also, to be able to to eliminate the ego from our psychology and give a hard blow to the ego, to the self, to the psychological defects. Also, a labor of love is fueled by love. Love is in works. If we do not do conscious works for others, we are not going to awaken love. The sparks released with the psychological death must awaken love and learn to serve others. Okay. Also, to be able to achieve the merits of the heart, to remember that a person that helps others well is going to be helped. The lion of the law is fought with charity. By doing conscious works for humanity, we will have the law in our favor. He who gives receives from what he gives. He who wants wisdom must give wisdom. Okay, remember that when we are teaching others, we are receiving knowledge from our inner father. If you help awaken others, well, you will get help to awaken. He who has and doesn't give, or what he has, even the little he has will be taken away from him. When you have knowledge, you have a terrible responsibility. If one does not give it, the law will come upon us. Okay, they charge us for having it because in the interior world, this is a very expensive knowledge, terribly expensive. Okay, and well, we have to pay this knowledge through sacrificing for others. Doing this, we're going to be earning dharma, and with that dharma, we're going to be paying this knowledge in the interior worlds. Okay. Also, we need to know that if we have this knowledge and we don't give it to others, we are going to be receiving karma. Okay. And how do they charge us? Well, the karma of having this wisdom and not giving it to others is paid with blindness. Normally, it is the karma of those who had the knowledge and hid it. Then the law also hide the light from him because the light represents wisdom. Well, also, we need to sacrifice to balance the birth factor. A person who sacrifices himself for humanity can be born 10 times faster than the egoist. Also, to balance the dying factor, okay, the psychological death. Each one of our defects has its own debts. If we want to eliminate them completely, we will have to pay what they owe. Also, we owe the karma of the karma of 7 existences. If we are going to self-realize in one existence, we must pay it, okay, in cash. The sacrifice for humanity produces dharma, or cosmic money, with which we can pay the karma. When we teach, also, we are in contact with the strength of the Father, as I said in the beginning of this lecture, and he teaches us when we are teaching others. Okay. Also, we're going to be receiving the strength for different jobs, different practices, like astral projection, mental projection, transcendental meditation, retrospections, etc., etc. Also, when we are teaching, we'll better understand this knowledge, okay? Also, we are not going to forget this knowledge, and we're going to become deeper in this knowledge while the consciousness awakens. Also, we are going to be avoiding falling into entropy or cosmic night. Also, it's going to come the time when we are going to embody the Christic force. And we're going to free ourselves to become useful to the being, no longer the evil or the ego. And also, we are going to be experiencing the pleasure, the satisfaction that comes from working selflessly. Okay, the satisfaction is in giving, not in receiving. Also, and this is very important, we need to get the disciple, okay, which will allow us to enter the absolute. Remember that a person to be able to merge with the absolute in the process of the third mountain, well, needs to leave a disciple, okay, that is going to be in charge of the teaching, well, in this planet. Undoubtedly, if we continue to observe, everyone believes that having listened to the lectures once is enough, okay? But to the extent that a person reviews the topics the being teaches him or her, and while one teaches others each day, he gives, well, new details. Then the instructors get deeper, and that depth is from reviewing the same topic once and once again. We take the agenda, we focus on it, and we see from lecture 1 to conference 50, but with each turn we see it in more depth. Each time we go to something new. It doesn't even become routine, but rather you begin to delve into it and understand it better. When one says our daily bread, well, he is or we are referring to the wisdom that comes from the Father daily to our hearts. So when one makes the request, give us our everyday bread, is asking for wisdom to be able to feed the consciousness. Because not only we live on physical food, but also on those manifestations that come from the higher worlds. The pineal and pituitary glands, through a secret path, through a very special door, can send the wisdom of the Father to the heart. But you have to feel it, you have to live it. And when we are teaching and practicing the office of the Father, we will also receive wisdom. Well, now we are going to study to know various ways to sacrifice ourselves for humanity. Okay, the sacrifice for humanity consists of two major aspects: fishing and teaching. Fishing is looking for people interested in doing the work. Okay, here the various forms of dissemination and advertising stand out. Of course, to teach, you must first learn the lectures and then prepare. Let's look at the different ways to make sacrifice for humanity. The first way is when one starts attending a course or watching these conferences. Then invite acquaintances, family, friends, neighbors, etc. To attend the course or watch it. When you have invited everyone you know, family and friends, you have to continue with the rest of humanity. Then you can distribute flyers and invite people to attend. You can put up posters or do other types of advertising campaigns. In order to sacrifice ourselves for humanity, we must prepare ourselves by reflecting and understanding what we have learned in these conferences. Later, the person will be trained to be able to dictate the lectures in a room, or it could be online, as I'm doing right now. Once you have learned, well, you can start giving introductions to new people, talking to them about the 4 pillars of wisdom or the 3 factors for to revolutionize the consciousness. Later, you will open your first classroom and take charge of it, or it could be an online page, as this one we have. Afterwards, well, classrooms will be opened in other places to spread knowledge elsewhere. Later, you will become an international instructor and will open groups to other countries, then lead the groups and guide them. Well, also you can write books of knowledge, do advertising campaigns, local, national, or global. Then comes the waking up to be able to make a more conscious sacrifice. Let's reflect on this. The important thing is that when you decide to teach, it doesn't matter where. It can be on the street, in a park, in a cafeteria, etc. Everything you teach becomes strength, and we need strength to be able to move forward in this inner work. So it is urgent to reflect on this conference to see if we can change the attitude towards sacrifice for others, and realizing that it is impossible to awaken our consciousness without practicing this third factor, because this is the factor that is going to help us develop selfless love. Okay, maybe you have asked yourself, why do so many people arrive to this knowledge, and why do so few stay? Well, because they have nothing to support themselves inside the bus, and the bus symbolizes the conference room, okay, this knowledge. That's why they are living permanently. They don't have enough dharma. That is why you have to constantly be generating that dharma and that strength to be internally paying this knowledge you are receiving. And the formula, well, is start doing. Okay, remember that love is always present in our actions, and lack of love due to fear in our omissions. And well, this was today's conference. I hope for you to be motivated to start practicing this factor. In fact, the 3 factors for the revolution of consciousness as a whole. If you are interested in receiving the material of these conferences to study and prepare to begin your process of sacrificing for humanity, you can send me a message. And well, I'm completely willing to help and guide you in everything necessary regarding learning and teaching these conferences to the people. So thank you very much, and until next time.